Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Megan, and today I'm going to be reviewing the F1 movie. I can't help but laugh because Sunday was the Austrian Grand Prix, and when I watched it, there were two incidences at the very beginning that I thought to myself, oh my gosh, this is like the F1 movie. The first incident was when Carlos Sainz was stuck at the back of the grid at the beginning of the formation lap. In the movie, Sonny purposely stays at the back of the grid. So when I saw Carlos stuck there, I literally thought, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just like Sonny, except Carlos wasn't purposely doing that. The second incident was when Kimi hit Max on the very first lap of the race. In the movie, Sonny purposely crashes into people to gain an advantage in the race, which is very unrealistic, by the way. In present day Formula One, you will not see drivers purposely crashing into each other because they cannot afford to lose points, especially if they are in the running for a championship. But I couldn't help but laugh because it was kind of funny, entertaining, so I just kind of like let it slide. Also, I would love to see how many penalty points Sonny racks up after all of those crashes in the beginning of the film, because I could say he probably maxed out and would be banned definitely from a race. Okay, so here are some of my initial thoughts from watching the movie. The story itself is about a veteran coming back to Formula One. It's really interesting they took that angle because there aren't many veterans that come back to Formula One. I think Alonso is probably an exception. But Formula One is actually really competitive in terms of getting a seat. There's only 20 spots on the grid, so becoming one out of 20, it's very difficult to do. For example, this year we have 6 rookies on the grid. So that was 6 drivers from last year that are no longer on the grid this year. And I don't even know the last time 6 rookies were on the grid. Normally the F2 winner will automatically get a spot on the grid for the next year. So I know the movie doesn't really show how competitive those seats are, but in reality it is extremely competitive. So I just wanted to put that out there. I would say like the plot and the message overall was a little bit vague throughout the movie. I was just waiting to see exactly like what the point of it was, because the question does come up to Sonny a lot. What are you doing this for? Is it about the money? And he says it's not about the money. He's doing it for his friend because his friend's going to be losing his team if they don't win a race by the end of the season. But also just sitting and reviewing the movie, it seems to me it's just about a racer who just loves to race. Because you see Sonny at the beginning, he's doing the 24 hours of Daytona. He's come back to Formula One and he ends up in the desert at the end of the movie. He's doing these different race mediums. For me, it just seems like it's just about a racer who just loves to race. And I think that's just like really cool to see. And that's what I actually appreciate about the movie, is that you just kind of get a glimpse into the F1 world. And I know today it necessarily probably always isn't about, just the racing, because in Formula One, there's a constructor championship and then there's an individual championship, and every driver wants to be number one. And so there's a part in the movie where Joshua and Sonny are fighting, and that is really real between teammates because they each want to be the number one driver. So Joshua getting upset and like just wanting to win and just wanting to succeed and be the number one, that is very true of the athletes and the drivers in the F1 world. Is like they all want to be number one. I want to talk about the racing sequences because the whole reason I went to go see this movie is because of the director. The director is the one who did Top Gun Maverick, and I think that is the best movie in the last 5 years, maybe even 10 years. It was just an amazing movie. So when I saw that in the trailer that Joseph was going to direct it, I was like, okay, I'm in. I will go watch this movie. And on Saturday, I watched it in IMAX, and then Sunday, I watched it standard. When I watched it, I noticed the real life footage from some of the actual races. So that was really interesting to see because somehow Sonny and Joshua just appear like in those races. And I was just like, okay, well, they're not really in those races. I don't know much about visual effects, but the way that they kind of merged the real race footage as well as Sonny and Joshua's racing footage was pretty cool. I mean, in IMAX, you're literally, it's so big that it's hard to take it all in. But I just remember in those moments, I was like, oh yeah, I was like when Gasly and Ocon, I don't remember who their driver was, but I think it might have been in that first race at Monza where one was like on top of the other and they all went to the side. That happened in the race. And so then you see like Josh and Sonny kind of like go by, or however they did that. I was like, oh, that's so interesting on how they did that together. What I'm guessing is that they probably filmed Brad and Damson doing laps, and then somehow with visual effects they kind of like merged it in, because some of the wheel to wheel stuff, it looked like they touched but like nothing happened. So I was like, oh, that must have been like some type of visual effect, unless they filmed like with a stunt driver or something where they did film those close scenes, because they're obviously not going to put the driver or the actors in, you know, behind the wheel with 20 other Formula One drivers. Like, I just don't think that they're gonna do that. The last race where Lewis is in front of them and they had some one-on-one scenes where it goes like around the corner, I'm guessing that they probably filmed those on track. But in terms of the real race and how many cars are on the track at once, I'm guessing that that's where they merged the footage from the race, and then like I said, they probably filmed them doing laps and then just kind of like place them in there. I don't know how that works, but that is what I got from watching it, because a lot of those like one-on-one touches or the crashes, that's literally from the race. The one thing I'm interested in is how they did the accidents, how they did the accident with Sonny at Silverstone when he first comes to the UK. I wonder if they did like a stunt, they had like a stunt driver or a reserve driver or someone, and they probably did that accident. Oh, I hope that accident is real. Honestly, I don't know if that was visual effect or not. And then even the accident with Joshua where he just got like flung across the whole entire thing. I was like, oh my gosh, it got flashbacks to Gran Turismo, which is also a great movie. But I don't know if, I'm pretty sure that's probably visual effect. And they just probably placed a car on the grass or something. That one probably has to be visual effect. I don't think they would risk that much maybe to do that as a real one. But I really want to know if the one on Silverstone where Sonny first comes, I wonder if that was like a real crash or not. Because I can see that going both ways, because it's like harmful but like also not harmful at the same time. Also, I don't think they used a Formula One car for Joshua and Sonny's car, because it kind of didn't look like an F1 car. I'm thinking it might be an F2 car, but not 100% positive on that. In Formula One, you get a lot of different camera angles. So a lot of the camera angles, I wasn't surprised that they did in the movie, but one of the angles that they did, I think it was like a 180 angle where you get the driver's point of view, and then it switches to 180 so you see behind the driver. I thought that was pretty cool. They did that a couple of times. I hope the ending race scene when Sonny gains the lead and he is just flying around Abu Dhabi, I really hope that was real footage, because that was really cool how the sound kind of slowly went away and you're kind of like moving into oblivion, like the way that they edited that. I just really hope that was I hope that was real footage from Abu Dhabi, because you couldn't really tell in the stands, because it was all, the way it was edited was kind of like blurry in a way, and you're kind of getting this like godlike energy. That was one of my favorite scenes. Like when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I kind of like watching Formula One. I was like, oh my God, that would be like a cool like view to get. So the fireworks didn't look real. So I don't know if they added those in or maybe it was real. I mean, it makes sense if it was real because it's end of the season, but after every Formula One race, there's not fireworks for the winner. So I don't know if that might be just like a movie effect that they added in. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the racing edits with the real footage merged with the acting footage. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been like super choppy, but I think that they did a good job at merging both real and cinematic. One of my favorite directed scenes, besides the scene where Sonny is flying at the end of the race, was when Sonny first comes to the paddock and they're outside the garage and there's like 6 or 7 different characters and he gets introduced to a few of those characters and they're talking and it just like cuts like back and forth when each person is talking and then with the different faces and reactions. I absolutely love that scene. I don't know how many times they filmed it, but it looked like flawless in how it was cut. So I don't know if they did like a single cam or if they did multiple camera setups. I don't know how they did it. But that was one of my favorite scenes because it's just like, it's just a funny banter scene with all these characters and the flow of the scene when each person talks and how the camera cuts to them. I don't know. I just absolutely love that scene. So shout out to the editors for that scene because I really liked it. It looked like it was shot in one. And normally I can tell because of like hair or like shirts or like whatever's messed up in the scene. But I was pretty happy about that scene because it did look like it was cut very well. There were definitely a couple of scenes that I called like Easter egg scenes. One of them was appearance by Gunther. I just laughed and smiled because Gunther is such a character. If you don't watch Formula One, you should just look up Gunther. He is just so great. So when I saw that appearance with him on the pit wall, I just absolutely loved it. I was smiling ear to ear. It was so great. The other scene was when Sonny was in the press conference, I think the very first one about him coming back. He had one-word answers. It just reminded me of Kimi. Kimi was a driver that retired a few seasons ago, and he would only speak so short to the media because he did not like the media. And so when Sonny was just answering, yeah, yep, yes, and like that, oh my gosh, it just brought me Kimi vibes. So I don't know if that was like on purpose or if that was actually like Sonny's character like written, but I just absolutely loved his one-word responses because I was like, oh my gosh, it makes me miss Kimi because he doesn't like speaking to the media. So at the end of the movie, I was surprised that they let Sonny win. I thought Joshua was going to win the race, but they ended up having Sonny win the race, and Josh ended up being Sonny in the moment in terms of, you know, hitting a driver so that Sonny can gain an advantage. I think I was shocked because it was a veteran teaching a rookie. I just thought it was interesting because I thought the movie was about mostly showing, you know, a veteran coming back to the sport and then helping out a rookie and guiding him. And so I thought it was going to be like his win, Joshua's win. But then they definitely flipped it and had like Sonny win. So I thought that was like really cool because I mean I just didn't expect, maybe I'm like naive or something, but I just thought when Sonny's character said, hey, it's your race to win, I just thought that would have been something because even in the poker scene, like he let Joshua win. He didn't show his cards. He just kind of put his cards to the side saying like, you have this one kid, because he knew that he won. So like I just thought based on the poker scene that they would let Joshua win, and that wasn't the case. So I thought that was kind of cool, Joshua giving Sonny his moment. I thought that was really sweet. Overall, I think it was a decent movie. For someone who watches Formula One, I'm okay with it. I liked it. It was entertaining. I really enjoyed the racing sequences. The story is a little bit of a stretch, but I think that's okay. You know, it's a movie. I just hope that people that don't watch Formula One start watching Formula One, and they're going to realize like how boring it is. There are more events that happen on race weekends besides the race. So normally in a Formula One weekend, on a Friday, you have free practice 1 and free practice 2. And then on Saturday, you have free practice 3, and then you have qualifying, and then Sunday is the race. But if you were to go on site for a race, they have other things that are going on. Like when I went to go see Formula One, they had the Girls Academy there. So the Girls Academy would be in between practices for like the F1 or whatever. Or their races would be before the F1 races. The other thing I want to say too is because of how the movie ends, I feel like it could be set up for a sequel. Like Sonny's journey in other motorsport disciplines, because he's back on the road again in his van. There could be a 6 to 8 episode mini series on his journey in this other discipline. Like that would be so cool. So that's one of the things I liked about the movie, was it was so good and I liked the ending. I'm down for a mini series and just to see more of his character, because his character is, like the guy says, he's kind of brings like a punk rock to Formula One, and I'm like, oh, that's like a really good description of it. So I really hope that we see more of his character. That's it for my review on the F1 movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. That's the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.